You are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa. Today on the show, we have my good friend, Ron DeFilippo, owner, entrepreneur. The guy just crushes it over at the Swamp Restaurant. Dude, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
I was excited. You know, I met Ron a long time ago. Really? Was it because you had a Vespa?
Yeah, I bought some Vespas from you.
Okay, you had a Vespa, and then you had some older school ones too that we service. How many Vespas do you actually have?
I have 7.
And how often do you actually ride them? Do you ride one each day of the week?
No, I ride my one that you just fixed.
Yeah.
At the starter is just for game days.
Okay.
Back and forth from my house to Swamp Restaurant.
And are you just collecting the other ones, or what?
I have one shown in one restaurant. I have given 4 or 5 of them away to other people, and we've done raffles, and we've bought stuff from you guys and given them away at the Swamp.
Thank you for that. Feel free to buy more and give them away at the Swamp anytime you want.
We're trying.
we appreciate that. It's funny, this is somebody that I like when he comes in through the shop. I always like to kind of pick his, brain, get some business advice or tell him what's going on. Hey, while you're here, let me get your thoughts on this. And a couple weeks ago, I was asking him a little something about some things that are going on in the area. and I don't know if you do this, but I often play the what if game. What if this happens and what if that happens? And I don't play it a lot, but enough to where it's all right, well, I'm trying to think through of all the possible scenarios,
Yeah, I do the same thing.
And so I was going through this, and nonchalantly, Ron looks at me in the face, and he goes, you would go out of business, and you would start over. It just made it sound like this thing was it's no big deal. You would just restart, because that's what entrepreneurs do. You just start over and you just do it again. And I actually reflected on that, and it's actually really good advice. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is that you lose everything and you start over.
Yeah, you still got your family. They're going to stick by you. The thing is that you have to be able to be resilient. What you do today is not what you're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yep. I mean, it's just interesting to see how things have evolved over the last 14 years. Right before this, Ron was asking me how long you guys been doing this. I mean, talking about New Scooters for Less, how long I've been a businessman, and I can't believe it's been 14 years. Actually, 15 in March. That's awesome. So it's crazy. Dude, is there anything going on in your world? Best of Gainesville, this December 17th. Happy birthday to my sister.
Yeah, happy birthday.
She probably doesn't listen, but but hey, happy birthday, Tara. I love you.
Not too much, just getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah. Are you going to fill us in on your secret yet?
No, not yet. Maybe next episode. Soon.
The episode when it airs, we're going to be all right, now we know where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll let you guys know where I'm at.
Okay.
Currently. I'm there right now, but
yeah.
I'll let you
Ron, you got any big plans for the holidays? Do anything for the holidays? You stay in town? What do you do?
I think we're going to Hawaii for Christmas, but Thanksgiving is kind of a big deal. Thanksgiving kind of a cooler holiday. You kind of share food and sit around a table. Christmas is kind of, buying a gift, open it up.
Yeah.
I don't really like this sweater, and move on. The other one's more of a party. If you throw one.
Well, what are you hoping to get for the holidays? Any presents on your wish list?
No, I'm not a big present person.
No?
I agree with Ron. I'm a Thanksgiving guy.
Yeah, you're like an experience type person. Is that why you're going to Hawaii?
Actually, it's my daughter's 35th birthday.
Oh, nice.
And she did a film down there called Red Heaven. I'll give it a plug. 6 scientists went into a dome. It sounds like a joke, to simulate going to Mars. And
they filmed it?
It's been very well received, and she hasn't finished it yet. And I think that over the holiday, she wants my wife and myself to kind of be her crew, because she don't want to pay other people to go do it.
So she's still filming it? Is it documentary style?
Yeah,
or
it's
is it?
documentary.
Oh, yeah?
She'll finish it up by then. It's called Red Heaven, and when it comes out, it's about going to Mars.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Very good. Mm-hmm. Is there anything going on in Gainesville during the holidays? Do you know?
Not really, just a bunch of ACRs are here. So
yeah, the ACRs stay, all the students leave.
Yeah. Well, you go to Swamp. That's what you do.
Do you guys really die down when the students, I have to imagine at the Swamp Restaurant, does students leave for the holidays and it
it's
comes
really
down?
university driven, so it's not necessarily students, but alumni and people come through town. If the Gators are doing well, I do well. If they drop off a little bit, it drops off. Believe it or not, over the holidays, people will drive through town to go see Grandma in St. Pete, and they'll stop in Gainesville and eat lunch at the Swamp and go tour the stadium or the university. And also, younger kids, they bring them here and say, here's where you might want to go to school. So we have quite an inventory of people coming through all the time that are looking at that. And we're the only real sit-down restaurant in that neighborhood. Believe it or not, in 1994 when I built it, I named that part of town Midtown. I wanted to identify
You gave
ourselves.
it that famous name?
Yeah, now the kids all refer to it as Mid.
Yeah.
And I have documentation to prove it. I'm not trying to blow smoke up my dress here, but it's a section of town that needs to be distinguished from downtown or Archer Road or the mall area. So
it's interesting, like that you say when the Gators are doing really well, business is better. We kind of experience that. We experience it in a different way, kind of, because like if you think about it, I feel like when the Gators are doing really well, you get those like primetime spots and the game's at like 7 o'clock. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then now that things are kind of got these losses and I mean, for everybody who's listening, I know this airs on December 17th, but today is actually November 7th. So we got South Carolina technically coming up this weekend. But like that game's gonna be at noon.
3 straight noon
and
games.
So it kind of sucks because my general manager messages me. Mike's like, hey Collin, game's at noon. Think we should close the dealership? And I'm like, damn it. I don't want to close the dealership, it's really good when those games are at 7 o'clock. We're open on Saturdays from 10 to 4. Parents are here with their kids. They come in. Like those days are normally really, really good. People buying scooters before 7 o'clock. And then, sports, we start losing. The games go at noon. We have to close the dealership. And it's just like, dang it, just keep winning. And
it's just more activity. And people want to see other things. And shopping for scooters and doing stuff. You don't necessarily have to be eating and drinking all, for 12 hours before the game and being relegated to that kind of stuff. It's more or less shopping and doing things in the neighborhood, and you guys supply that neighborhood. It's not that far to walk. I mean, if we were in New York City, walking from here to the stadium.
No, I mean, we charge for parking here.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because this year I actually said, all right, I'm going to give it up to team members if anybody wants to do it, to make some extra money. Give it up to a couple of charitable organizations, one of which that I want to get on the podcast in 2019. But like, we had Foster, Florida. We were like, they're like, here you go, here's park, and they did a good job of like marketing it and putting it on Facebook, saying, hey, like go park. Like New Scooters Plus is giving us their parking. We're gonna charge $20 a spot. Come on out, dude. They like made like over $700 in that one day just for 2-3 hours worth of work of parking cars. I'm like,
who'd you give the money to?
So it was called Foster Florida. It's a charitable organization here.
That's very good.
Yeah. So we do that a couple times, and then the one thing that I've had a lot of UF student organizations always reaching out to us. Hey, Collin, like, will you sponsor this student organization? Will you do this? And I mean, we get that a lot. We also get a lot of the charities and stuff. I mean, I'm sure you get hit up by nonprofits and stuff all the time, but so do we. And that's an easy way to say, hey, like if you want to bring your UF club out here, make a bunch of signs, rent out the parking, and make a few $100 for your organization, we'll be willing to do that for you. So it's done well. Now we're gonna have people fighting over, hey, can we park cars at your park? We're gonna have to have a lottery to let people do it, and then of course I let my team do it as well, because they always want to make some extra money too. So it's like, if you want to work for a few hours on a Saturday, put parking cars. You can get on an LSU game or a big game, you're gonna get $20 a spot. Yeah. I think normally we can easily get $10 a spot, but it's not far.
Publix and Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah, it's not far. If you cut down like 5th too, you can go right behind the Swamp restaurant, like going right down that way.
That's good. The neighborhoods is pretty nice. Yeah.
That's good. So, but
the only trouble is that the next game after South Carolina is Idaho, and I think attendance will really, really drop then. I call those the Secretary's Bowl. Everybody gives their tickets to their secretaries and they kind of come. Yeah. I even dropped prices during that period of time to accommodate, the different kind of people that wouldn't go there, not bull gators and all these crazy maniacs.
I feel like it's definitely giving tickets away to
Yeah.
friends. So I got friends who I'm giving my tickets away to that they asked for them because I got some friends and family coming into town. So very much the same thing. So, well, cool. Like, let's I always like to dive into the origin stories, right? I want to take it way back and find out how you even became a businessman and what led to, you starting the Swamp Restaurant and this monumental business in Gainesville, Florida.
Well, actually, and you probably have the same problem. No one would ever hire you or me, so you had to go in business for yourself.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
When was that?
Probably when I got out of college. I took some jobs and went to South America and did site inspections for coppers, and they're rebuilding the railroads, and they were buying hardwoods out of South America, and they needed a go-to guy. They didn't have Federal Express, and you had to go and look at and bring wood samples back. So you went into the jungle and brought stuff back. I started traveling, and I really got the traveling bug. And what traveling really does for you is it shows you the other part of the world and what other people are doing. And Gainesville's a tremendous town to me. I don't know if you know this or not, but I built my first bar in town called Harmonica Joe's, which is now University Club.
Well, how did you even get to Gainesville? Was it for school?
College, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And after that, I went to Atlanta because I was making luggage in a plant in South America, and Coca-Cola moved me to Atlanta for 10 years. And then I came back to town. Harvey Budd was building some TV stations and some towers, and I came back here. And then I took the old Silverman's building, which is called the Silver Q, that was downtown, and I built that. And the Swamp became available because it was burned down. It was Chaucer's, and I thought that corner was significant. And I saw something that I don't think anybody else saw at the time. And I rebuilt it and opened it up, but I didn't have any restaurant experience. I had a little bit of bar experience, and I like real estate. I own several pieces of property in and around Gainesville and the state. I just purchased some stuff in DeLand, Florida, which reminds me of Gainesville in the late 60s when I came here in the early 70s. And growth has been a big part of Florida, and people are moving here on a regular basis, and you're in a position. I grew up in a little town outside of Buffalo, New York, and everything was kind of deteriorating there rather than growing. And Florida's always had growth since I've been here. With growth, you have opportunity. So we've all captured it. And having a product that people are interested in, makes it worth it, whether it's a hamburger or chicken wings or scooters. It's an evolutionary thing. And evolving yourself and seeing the market and being in a small business and being able to change dramatically is very, very important. And if you can make any money doing it, as I've told Collin, buy a piece of real estate every year. Don't put your money in an IRA or anything like that where a bank ties you up. You need the freedom and the ability to take your money and do the things that you feel are right for your family, your business, and the people that are around you, and grow and build. And I'm kind of a socialist in that respect. I've brought a lot of guys along with me, but there's 6 guys in this room, 7 including me, and this couldn't get done with 2 guys, so all things being equal, you need the people around you to do it, and you need to grow into those type of environments.
So how many businesses have you had or owned?
I have 7 corporations now that I do, and from art collection that it's on tour to real estate that I own. I've built some Airbnbs behind the Swamp that are doing very, very well. Rather than have apartments, we've been very successful with doing weekends and weekly rentals for Shands University and everything. But currently, there's a lot of other buildings being built, like hotels and overnight stay places for people. So looking at the market and seeing what's available, in addition to having a daily cash flow with a restaurant and supporting kids that are going to school and those type of things, it's worked out very, very well for us.
Do you find yourself constantly bouncing between all these different projects and businesses that you have going on, or do you have like, you just have managers in place and you let them do their thing? Like, what's your day look like?
I have two offices, one here in Gainesville and one in Ormond Beach, and I manage my offices. Every day they send me my totals at the end of the night on what our places did. I'm not online like you younger guys where I can go and see my cameras and see who's in the place. It would probably just give me a stomach ache every night if I did. My kids drinking and carrying on. But I have very, very good management. I've brought in some younger partners, and they've done an excellent job. But it's been I call it college. I took on a partner at the Swamp, Ryan Prodowski, and Nick Smith, and they're doing a great job. But I tell them that they're in their third year, so they're juniors in the business. They're reaching their senior year next year, so they'll graduate. But it's like everything, it's a learning experience. And when you're driving something on an individual basis, you have to have some vision. And your vision changes daily because the landscape changes, so you have to adapt to it.
Yeah. What is I'm kind of interested, like, what's your day look like?
I go to work, I check my numbers, I pay my bills on Monday, I evaluate what's going on. I have computers that tell me what I did. Swamp's been there 25 years. My other place has been there 12 years. My other businesses that I have are kind of leasehold improvement places that I have to keep up with and do. It's diverse. It's fixing, keeping things maintained, and also improving all the time. If you don't improve, you kind of die.
Yeah.
I also have helped P&G, Afternoon, people that are young in the business that don't have the insight to know where they're going to be 2 or 3 years down the road because they're so consumed with what they're doing on a daily basis. I try and give them a little more insight, a little financial help, a little advice, and also being able to see where they think they're going to go. And nobody really writes a business plan. I mean, did you write a business plan when you did this place?
No, and it's funny because I get a lot of people who ask that question, and I still feel like on a university level it gets pushed a lot. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if like I really should have. But like just in that last episode, I was talking about the fact that I just saw an opportunity, and I just went in it, I dove head first into something I didn't know anything about, and started figuring things out along the way. And I think,
we wouldn't be allowed in Innovation Square. I just walking in and say, hey, I got this, I'm going to build this swamp over here on the corner. It's a burned down building, and I'm going to go for it. And they'd say, well, what's your budget? What's that? It's like, we just kind of do it. Same thing with you. Did you know anything about floor planning? And
no, definitely figured it out along the way. Definitely paid cash for the first scooters, and then I would sell them, and then have to buy new ones, and it was just
then your credit cards were charged up.
Yeah,
and you were
for sure. Yeah. That's how
people make so many mistakes, and it's just getting through those pitfalls. But if you believe in what you're doing, it's.
Well, I would say this: the only thing about a business plan that I really remember doing was in the early days. We didn't necessarily have a formal business plan or deck or any of that kind of stuff, but it was spreadsheets. I remember sitting down, figuring out what the utilities were going to be, asking the neighboring unit, say, hey, how much are you paying in utilities here? We're thinking about moving in next door.What's that look like? What are you paying in rent? Trying to figure out what the rent would be, what the utilities would be, and just figuring out a runway, right? How much time do we have before we run out of this initial investment? And it was, and I had a partner at that time, and he was bringing in that initial investment. I was bringing in a lot of the time because he was still in school and I was about to graduate. So for me, it was 100% of my time running this business and getting this thing off the ground. But, and then ultimately, you learn the lessons along the way, because after 2 years, my partner and I split, had just completely, I would just say ultimately our visions were just different. We weren't on the same page as to where we were going.
No one likes to be told anything either. So if you're suggesting or doing something, but you also have to take into consideration that your knowledge is very, very weak. And also people are kind of very guarded. They don't want to share information with you. They don't want to say, oh, I'm paying this much for rent and I may have a better deal, or I'm screwing myself, and it's across the board. And I have a terrible landlord where I'm at, The swamp is the only thing I own. About 28 buildings and ballyhoos, and I owned the stuff downtown with Boca Fiesta and those guys, and I had tenants, and I've sold those things off to certain people, but I shared the information with them, and I want them to get bigger and stronger because it'll only make me be able to move on and do other things. And it's impossible to get people to share information just because they're so guarded. They feel they're going to give something up. And at my age, I can't tell you enough, because I just want to get it out there. I'm kind of overloaded.
Yeah.
I need to download some of this stuff.
Do you feel like that's a weakness?
The weakness is not sharing. The strength is being very transparent. And,
Yeah. See,
I mean, I tell you whatever you want to ask me.
Right.
As honestly, and maybe sometimes it's critical as well, because I think I'm older and more knowledgeable, but it's basically how your plan's going to help you get better. And I hope to say that's all I'm all about, but I'm sure I'm selfish and self-centered as well.
Well, I've just found like I don't know how you are with it, but I'm super transparent.
Yeah,
Like,
I try to be.
I mean, I just sent an email to my entire team saying, look, this is what November and December have been like the last couple of years. This is what I'm trying to achieve. This is how much money we lost in the month of December. Just like lay it out. I'm super transparent with my team. I've been transparent with people that I've trusted and have had it bite me in the butt before.
Yeah.
And or come really close to it. And so sometimes I wonder, like, should I be that transparent, or should I be more reserved?
Sometimes it helps you, sometimes it bites you in the butt. My daughter just got engaged in Paris, and her fiance didn't want to ask me for her hand because he said I can't keep a secret. So,
is that true?
It's the truth.
You would have told her?
Hey, he's going to ask you. Make sure you got a good dress on or something. Look as good as you possibly can. I don't want to lose this window of opportunity.
Oh, man. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. My wife says I talk too much. But I got nothing to lose. I don't, to take something away from me would cost you a great deal of money, and it'd still be a dice shoot. Kind of get to a pinnacle, and you're fine. Also, in business, I think that you have to grow daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and it's very, very important to keep. Monday on the 17th of November, it rained, and I did, $2,000 worth of business, and the 18th was clear, and we did $3,500 or something, and it's like, and if you can just go back and just, information is so important at every level, whether it's the election was today, and people are depressed, or people are happy, or, the Gators are winning, this happens, national championships, it's all relative, and how you digest that stuff and how you put it out there is completely your own information, and it helps you build and helps you create, and knowledge is power. Surrounding yourself with new people and new ideas and exchanges is very, very important.
Is that the best way to do it? Is that the way you do it?
I do quite a bit, and I've kind of gotten away from my daily operations, but I have a plethora of girls over there that are, some of them never had jobs before in their whole life. How they turn and how they look at things, I'm interested in, because sometimes they're really, really smart, sometimes they're really stupid, and you got to evaluate it on that level. So
you get like
everything's
fresh
very, very
though.
important, and the little messages that you get are probably greater than the bigger messages. I read a great deal. I just read Species, and it's a great book, and how we got here and the evolution of it. How it pertains to the swamp business is irrelevant, but it's a thought process that gets you, opens you up, because you're so inundated with the minutia of your everyday operation that you can't get away from it sometimes. Oh, that guy didn't finish that carburetor out there, and the guy's been here twice because it's only his form of transportation, and I'm pissing this guy off and I'm making this guy happy. The people you make happy by mistake are the ones that you don't even know. And your friends are probably your worst enemies. My friends go, I'm not going to the swamp. You're not going to be there. I go, who do you know at Outback? You know? What the hell's wrong with you?
Who do you know at Outback?
Why do I have to be in the room to make you feel comfortable?
That's funny. How did you get your education in things like the commercial real estate piece, for example? I mean, when did you buy your first piece? And
I had a bunch of residential houses, and with residential houses in Gainesville, it's different. You know, you've got students, and you matriculate them through, and they move out. But there was a lot more upkeep in commercial buildings at Triple Net. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I rent it to, say, Ballyhoo's, and they pay the taxes, insurance, and maintain the building. I got to keep a roof on it, and that's about it. If air conditioners go, it's their responsibility. It's a lot easier. You've got good term leases. They pay every month. And if a guy's in a residential place and he loses his job, you've got to evict him. Put a family on the streets. I had a hard time doing that kind of stuff. A guy in business, if he can't make any money, he runs away. And I've had plenty of commercial places that I haven't chased the guy. Usually the guy goes out of business. He can't be held responsible for the chance he took, spending all his money with his dream, and then me go and put a judgment against him. So the next job he gets, I end up taking $20,000 from his lifeline. If I'm not capable of re-renting it or believing in the property that I own, it kind of lends itself to how you want to. I don't know, did you ever see It's a Wonderful Life? I don't want to be Potter's Field where I'm making, slums and people are, can't afford to live there. Yeah. Everything's relative. And if you keep that perspective and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, I think it works a lot better for you.
Yeah.
I'm no saint, I'm not trying to say that, but know what business that you're in and know what you're doing, and understanding it from both sides, I think, makes you far more successful.
When did you get your first piece of commercial real estate?
I bought next to Emiliano's. It's a little gelato store.
Yeah.
And it was
been there a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been there forever. I bought that piece, and it was an alleyway that a guy put a roof over the top of it, and he put his wife in there. It was called Dolores' Beauty Salon. So he put a roof over an alley, put a floor in, put his wife in there, and he did really well for a while. And then he decided to sell it. So I was buying it from him, and I bought it. It was inexpensive. I don't even know the number. But I had a restaurant that went in there, and they wanted to buy it from me. So they did a survey on it, and they said, we only own up to the inside walls. We don't even own the walls because they were attached to the other buildings and downtown. And he says, if we buy it, what do we do? And I said, don't hang any pictures. You got the space. What do you want from me?
That's funny.
But I mean, and it worked. It worked for everyone. So, they were trying to back me in a corner and try to get it cheaper. You still have that piece? And I just said, no, I sold it.
You sold it.
I buy and sell quite a bit because it's kind of like my neighborhood. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there's a lot of older families that own a lot of stuff here, and God bless them. Their fathers, grandfathers bought it and passed it down through the ages, but they're not progressive. They don't fix or maintain or build it. And guys come here from other parts of the country and build a Standard, which I think is a great piece of property on the corner of 13th and University. And it modernizes our town. And what's cool about America is that we're always building and tearing things down. Europe is a little bit different. I mean, people are complaining about mold in their buildings. I go, guys, ever been to Barcelona and stayed in an old hotel? I'm sure it's filled with mold. But what happens is, it's like Archer Road. I mean, Clark Butler did all that stuff out there, and it was vision. And having new stuff and building stuff and creating more energy. I mean, Pizza Palace down the street here was the only place to get Italian food in the old days. And of course, there's better places now that did it, and those guys never really evolved or changed. And I have a landlord that, has me kind of, what do you call it, underneath that one footprint, and I can't get bigger, stronger, or smarter. So I had to buy property behind it and feed the place and change it. I had to evolve if they weren't going to do it. And sometimes people get stymied in business. I think you moved from over the other place to here, and it's been a plus for you. Yep. But it was a leap of faith for you to do it. And, I'm sure your family said, why are we going out on this limb that we're just going to saw off on ourselves?
I mean, and that whole process was crazy. Have I even told you about that process?
Not really.
Dude, like the way things laid out. I mean, I say divine intervention just because the way everything laid out. But, there was another scooter shop here.
Right.
I don't know if you know that. Swamp Cycles, they were here.
Uh-huh.
We ended up, I had started that conversation a long time ago of, hey, I can tell your heart's not in this. That's okay. Like, sell to me. Like, sell me your business. And I got the answer of, Collin, we'll sell to you at some point, but today's not the day. And so when they told me that, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to sell. My mind is instantly like, oh my gosh, they're going to sell to me. Like, that to me, that's like, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So every couple months, hey, just checking, is today the day? Doing that every couple months. Finally, I got the answer I want, which was, okay, Collin, we'll sell to you. I come over here, to make a really long story short, like, the value wasn't there. What they wanted wasn't there. So I passed. I was like, oh, it's not going to work out, blah, blah, blah. But eventually, they were just in trouble anyway. Like, we were doing such a good job 2 miles away. I think they didn't personally take good, advantage of this location. They didn't really go after it. We were, kicking butt 2 miles away, and then we just pushed them out. I mean, they were gone. I mean, it literally came down to them. Hey, they were out on a Saturday, or they were out on Friday night. I signed the lease Saturday morning, and then I didn't even think twice about it. It was just gut instinct. I still had a lease over there at the other place. I was gonna have 2 locations. What's that gonna look like? 2 locations 2 miles apart from each other. Like, that doesn't make a lot of business sense. Yeah. But then,
your timing is very, very important in this business, and luck. And those things are essential for business and growth. When I did the Swamp, I went to the University of Florida. They couldn't win 3 games a year. They had to bring Furman in for homecoming to beat somebody. And, the Swamp, the name, the other stuff that went on, my timing was impeccable. And people said, you don't know anything about the restaurant business. We're not lending you any money. We're not doing this or that. And I just said, there's something here, guys, and I'm stupid not to do this.
Yeah.
And it was a huge leap of faith.
Right.
And I just said, I'll build it and I'll figure it out. Same thing you did. If you don't believe in it and do it, I'd rather go broke trying than go broke wishing. And say, I should have done this or I should have done that. And you gotta be a gambler, and that's what entrepreneurship's all about.
Well, that's exactly what we did, because we moved over here. That was in the middle of July 2015. We scrounged up quickly a showroom so we could have a showroom before August. So we redid the showroom as fast as we possibly could. This was still, talk about moldy mess. This whole service area was just terrible. And then, after we get through back to school season, my landlord over there, I thought he was getting all kind of nervous that, hey, like, I saw that you opened up another location, like, what's happening? I'm like, oh, don't worry, like, we're still happy here. He's like, oh, well, I don't know if you know this, but our company's been growing. If you want to get out of your lease, we'll let you out, if you need it. I'm like, whoa, what? So we took that advantage, so things ended up working out where we ended up moving from over there a lot sooner than we anticipated, because he was willing to let us out of the lease because his company was growing. We moved over here. We remodeled this, didn't own it. Everybody thought I was crazy. We invested like $130,000 into investing, into cleaning up this service department, because I looked at it as like, look, I understand it's not my property, but I need the business. I need it to be set up to work for my business. Because if it's not, then we're going to lose anyway. Like, I need it to be functional for what we're going to do. So we invested the money, we cleaned this up, and then I just had it in my mind. Like, I just was like, I'm going to buy this place. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to buy this place. And I think, I don't know if you've read that Napoleon Hill book. God, what is it? Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
But it's like when you have that desire. It's like when you put it up here and you have that desire, and you can't. It's almost like an obsession.
The trouble is you can't remember what you were thinking at the time, but at the time you were thinking right, and you have to do it. And also, I mean, scooter business exploded. I mean, this town's got more scooters. I rode a Honda Passport when I was in school here. People made fun of me, and I bought it from Strites over here.
But I don't know if it would have exploded if it wasn't for how driven I was. You know what I mean? Like, we talked about this in the last episode. Like, the number of decals sold in 2004, which is when we started, was like 600. Mm-hmm. I mean, you said you had a Honda Passport. Like, what year was that?
1968.
I mean, so scooters were around. Like, there were scooters, but it was just less than 600. It wasn't a thing.
It wasn't cool. I mean,
but last year it was 6,800 decals were sold. Something crazy like that. You know what I mean? Like, so in those
great job marketing. Even this thing that you're doing, brings a consciousness to the market.
Some people don't like the scooters. I always tell you, people send me text messages. They get stuck behind a scooter. They pull their phone out. They take a picture and they text it to me and they say thank you.
Well, what about? Well, okay, let's talk about your business a little bit. Are we evolving into electric bicycles because they're easier to get on campus and park, and because there's no restriction, you can drive them right on the sidewalks over there. Look,
it's funny because I get into this area where I'm very much like, we've always said we want to be the scooter experts, right? We want to Gainesville, the scooter capital of the world, like scooter experts, and we've done that. We haven't gotten into a lot of other products. We've definitely said, hey, this is the one thing that we're going to know. We're going to know it really well. The problem with that is you can't be romantic about that because the market ultimately decides, right? Like if people are like, oh, like, this is going to be the new way we get around on campus. It's going to be electric bicycles. If something like that happens, you can guarantee we're going to be the number one electric bicycle business in town. You know what I mean? Because I look at it as, really just staying true to the mission, right? So our mission was always to help college students get to and from class at their convenience without dealing with the bus, without dealing with campus parking. So if an electric bicycle was the thing that does that now, okay, great. Like we're gonna sell the hell out of them. You know what I mean?
What about those stations? I see the guy in Lyft is buying all the big city, electric bikes that they've got parked in New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and stuff. I mean, is there a possibility for that to be a downtown, midtown, Archer Road? I mean, we got bike routes in this town. It's kind of set up for you.
For sure.
Not even selling them. I mean, maybe just stations and renting them. I mean, we're reverting back to business plans and being progressive thinkers. I mean, is that the way to go? I mean, in my business, I'm looking at you ordering coffee and a croissant or something and paying for it on your phone and just walking in the door and picking it up. That's the best thing for me to do, because if not, you got to come and sit down. A waitress has to come and see you. The evolution of service and product is changing dramatically.
Yeah, and it's always going to. I think you just have to pay attention and focus on what consumers really want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that ultimately means for New Scooters for Less, but the thing that I've never been afraid to evolve. Like, I think it's one of our strengths. I think it's the reason why we built one of the top scooter dealerships in the country, is because I pay a lot of attention to, where everybody else is putting their attention. Everybody's like this on their phone. Students are like this. They're in class. Where I used to sit in class and go through the classifieds of the Alligator. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, guess what? Back in 2004, like I used to have like 3 or 4 ads in the scooter section of the Alligator. How many do I have now? 0. Why? Because students don't do that anymore. Students go like this.
That's why
they get on their phones.
That's why there's no UFO spottings anymore. Everybody's looking down.
And I look it up. But I mean, it's just true. Like, I want to put, my ads, I want to provide our customers value. We use a lot of YouTube stuff, how-to videos. There's always this fear of like, well, Collin, if you teach somebody how to change the light bulb on their scooter, like, aren't you going to lose their business? Maybe if they live in Idaho. You know what I mean? But even then we might be able to sell them the light bulb. There's so much opportunity. But I know how to change the oil in my car, but I'm not going to do it because my time is more valuable doing other things. And I think a lot of people miss that point. So I don't know. There's just a lot going on with this device. This is the remote control to our lives.
To you, but if everybody thinks that they have something to sell and they have to go through you to do it, it shortens your progression. And the thing is that knowledge is power. Give it to them. Share it. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I think I was asking you, how do you get your education? That kind of thing. How did you learn a lot of this stuff? I mean, and that's especially on the commercial real estate piece because we ended up buying the building, and now there's a lot of movement in there. There's a lot of things going on. I get asked a lot of questions. Hey, Collin, are you willing to sell? Are you willing to do this? And I'm at a state right now where I'm super grateful for everything I have. God doesn't want to give you one more thing. Fine. I'm super happy with everything that I have. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, speak to me. You want me to do more? What do you want me to do? You know what I mean?
Not me. I can't find that expiration date. I mean, and I'm pushing every day. It's.
Well, I just have that feeling.
It's a legacy that you have to create. It's for your family and for yourself. Not, I didn't invent anything. I don't know that much, but you just keep working every day, and it's a tough mountain to climb.
Well. And you've fallen in love with Gainesville. I mean, you've been here since when?
1968.
I mean, I
love. I had a home in Aspen. I had an apartment in New York City. I mean, this is my base, but I loved the world. Europe. I went to school in Italy. Learned how to cut patterns over there. Education's very, very important, and the education of travel, and it's a Marco Polo syndrome. I don't have an original idea, but Marco Polo was the guy that brought spaghetti from Asia to Italy, and he gets credit for spaghetti. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to take credit for, but it's seeing other things.
What about creating a staple in Gainesville?
Yeah.
I mean, the Swamp Restaurant is like a staple.
25 years, and to be in business for 25 years is remarkable. Not for me to say it, but I have been here for as many years, and since you guys have been here, there's bars, clubs, stores that have just dissipated.
Yeah, of course.
But
over and over again.
What's really interesting is that I don't shop at Walmart. I don't do chains. I shop locally, think globally,
Okay, so when you talk about things like Butler Plaza and people having this vision, and now there's all these big corporate stores coming in, how do you feel about that? Isn't that somewhat of a threat to some of the small businesses that are here in Gainesville?
It is, but it's indicative of our times. I can't go to a bank and say, hey, I'm going to open up a clothing store. I've got these clothes that I make, and they're really great, and I need $100,000. I can borrow $10 million easier than I can borrow $100,000 with a development that looks like the Standard Club or the stuff that's there. For an independent, and you've probably been on the doorstep of a few banks asking for some short-term stuff, and it's just not available. But when I was younger, it was available because there wasn't that stuff out there. So the change has been dramatic in banking, in marketing, in all the aspects of a private entrepreneurial business. And if you don't have the staying power or the personality, you don't need money all the time, but you need to be held accountable. I've gotten a lot more stuff by telling a guy, hey, I really need this, and I don't have anything to give to you now, but I swear to you, I'll kill myself to do it. And having them believe in me or having a track record that made that happen is sometimes you have to put yourself out there. And a lot of people stop themselves by not putting themselves out there or saying those things to a supplier. I built the Silver Q downtown in 1990, and I didn't have any money. And I got a guy in Orlando that built pool tables. And I went down and I said, I don't know what I was buying, 15 pool tables, and they were $2,000 a piece, so it was $30,000 bucks. I gave him $5,000 for the initial offer, and he said he would deliver them, and he came there, and I was supposed to pay for the balance, and of course I didn't have the balance. So he starts unloading the truck, and I said, before we put these things up, I got to talk to you about something. I said, I've only got maybe 50% of what I owed him. And I said, I need to talk to you. He said, well, were you going to let me set all the tables up and then tell me that? And I go, yeah, I was thinking that way because it was so much work. He goes, I'd have kicked your butt. And I said, you're kind of a big guy. That's why I decided to tell you ahead of time. And, I ended up, he said, well, when can you do it? And I said, well, you got to give me 30 days. I just spent all this money building my place out and getting it ready. I had to buy a liquor license, and blah, blah, blah. And, he agreed to it, but I was very honest with him and straight up, and, he felt my pain. And if I couldn't get open, he wasn't going to sell them to me, and he had to take the gamble. I probably paid him for what it cost him to do it, and his profit was sitting there for me. So knowing and understanding that I wasn't just saying, give me everything, and I'm giving you nothing, I gave him what he probably had into the deal, and I kind of, thought it through and said, what would I accept? And it ended up working out for me.
What do you think the advantage was during that time? Like, what year was that?
1990.
Okay, so in 1990, for small businesses, really social media, not even a thing. Like, so, because, I'm going back to these big corporate stores moving in now. Like, what's the advantage? Is there threat for these small businesses and that kind of thing? And yes, I think you could look and say that there is, but the key here, the advantage that I keep seeing, and you can chime in on this, is really the social media stuff, kind of like the Addison McKinseys of the world. Yeah. These boutiques, these people who are literally making money through Instagram. These resources and stuff, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, like, those resources were not available in 1990. So what was the advantage then versus now?
The advantage then that you had to put your personality out there. You really had to be. I think the thing that attracts you and I together when we first met was we are personable people. We were attracted to one another. We liked it. You were not a younger version of me, but younger, and you were moving forward, and I liked that about you. And people kind of can extrapolate that from you, and that's what you had to put out there. Now you're just putting a picture out there and saying, I've got a better product or a cheaper product, and all you got to do is drive across town and fight traffic to get it. It's how you service and how you present yourself in your marketplace. And a lot of people sell scooters, it's market share. I mean, you can go on Craigslist and buy them and all the other places, but you stand behind your product, and there's a whole bunch of invaluable traits that you have to really put out there, and it's a combination of all those things.
Well, and interestingly, like, I look at that because you're exactly right. I mean, in that email I was telling you about that I sent to my team, one of the things I said in 2019, we're going to focus a lot on the used market, because we just spent the last 3 years putting over 800 new scooters every year on the road. Well, guess what, guys? There's 2,400 scooters out there with our name on them that are 3 years old now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we're gonna go and we're gonna buy those back at these juniors and seniors start to leave, and we're gonna resell.
It should be like buy back books. You'll bring your scooter here, and I'll give you money.
Yeah.
I had a guy that I used to buy cars from, and he was always competing with the big car lots, and he was a great guy. But he would get a car. In those days, you didn't have the information like the, what do you call it, the fax, the Fox, whatever it is, and the reports if they had accidents or something.
Carfax.
And he would buy a car, and he'd sell it to you, and the transmission would fall out in 2 weeks. And he would just say, bring it back, I'll put a new transmission in. He didn't even, he didn't say, well, you were driving in low gear or you hit a bump.
Right.
He just
did it.
He just fixed it. And
it was the right thing to do.
His philosophy was, and then everybody went to him, because no matter what, he'd give you a loaner, and he'd do that stuff. And it was personalized service. And it was also in a community where you knew people. I mean, you guys have, like I do, you've got kids coming here from all over the place. They come and go. And, so how far you want to go with that. And it's also somebody that's going to take advantage of you, but just, suck it up sometimes.
I like the turnover. I think Gainesville has its own economy because of it, right?
Like, it has forever.
Yeah.
And so many people come through this town.
You know, where everybody's like, oh, do you fear like a huge crash and like things? I mean, yeah, like if economy crashes, that kind of thing, we'll be affected. But interesting, like you go back to like 2008, was new scooters less affected? I'm like, yeah, in a positive way. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different because gas went to $5 a gallon. Everybody was buying scooters because they get 80 miles a gallon. So our sales went up. So I know that that's a little bit unique, but still, like there were still college students coming in that fall. Yeah. You know what I mean? And because of that, there were still people were still buying textbooks at that time. They were still buying, you know, I mean, like whatever. Scooters, anything that they needed for school. We have this natural economy of turnover of students, people coming in and out. Now that is a disadvantage in some ways because the lifespan of a lot of our customers are only 4 or 5 years because they graduate, they leave town.
I'm pushing 70. I got scooters.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the.
I shipped one I have one in Brooklyn that I ride around with my daughter's house.
But that's a small percentage of our customer base, right?
But the thing that really resonates most with me, and it's a philosophy that I've adopted, is Uber is the largest transportation company in the country, in the world, and they don't own a car.
Right.
Airbnb is the largest hoteler, and they don't own a bed.
Right.
So if we take that philosophy and incorporate it somehow into our little businesses, I think that you have to think that way.
Yeah, but the only problem with that though is that everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna be the next Uber of this, Uber of that.
Everybody wants to reach here, but if you can just reach here in your own market and see
that's
your
the thing
increases.
though, in your own market, everybody thinks that they're gonna make the next unicorn, that they're gonna be the next Facebook, Uber, you know, Airbnb, and it's just like give me a break. Like people need to take more of the old school bootstrap, you know, like going to family, friends, whatever, getting that initial $10,000, getting it off the ground, and then reinvesting. But I mean, we're meeting people all the time that now the business life is go raise $500,000 and burn through it. Like,
everybody wants an episode on cribs. They're not going to get it. You know, the thing is that you really, really have to have passion, heart, and drive, and also know that you want to go sell cars tomorrow, go out to the car dealerships and sit out there. If you want to do something on a personal and individual basis that has your name and your reputation on it, you know, put it out there for the most positive approach you can get. You know, take the higher ground, always be the guy that's magnanimous, generous, you know, not the smartest guy in the room, but, you know, it's being that person that you really want to relate to and share your stuff. I mean, I told these guys all stories from my 5 years old to 68 years old in a matter of 5 minutes. And you don't need to be full of yourself, but you need to be able to say, you know, it's a journey. And in your journey, you want to do very positive things. I'm sure I've screwed over a few people probably listening now. The people that hate you will listen to you more than the people that like you. But, you know, it's just that great journey, and I'm really proud of you for what you've done here and where you've came from. I told you to move closer to campus, and I wanted you to move in one of my places over there that was smaller, that make yourself available to
Well, it's hard finding the right fit for what we do because there's so many aspects.
I don't want to say that I opened up your eyes to do it, but you looked and you knew that.
I'm going to go ahead and give you all the credit right here on the podcast.
Okay, and we're done 100%. For today, folks.
It's all you.
That's what I came here for.
All right.
No, it was like you have to be better. I was downtown in the 70s in a bar with my brother, and I didn't care about it, and we did okay with it. And then I did the Silver Q. But if I hadn't done those two things, the Swamp would have never been successful. If the Swamp was my first venue or to do it, and I never served food in any of these places, and it was extremely difficult. I hired a consultant to help me do it, and I didn't have the money for him, you know. And I figured out it was necessity. I needed to do it. I needed to figure out how to get an order from here made and brought back to that guy and collect the money to do it. And it was difficult.
Yeah.
But it was something I had to do, and I had this suck it up and find the money and cheat a supplier for 2 weeks or something and tell the guy, I said, I can't pay, I got to do this in order to stay in business, because I believe anybody that supplies me or does anything is my partner. And if without me, he doesn't exist. So sometimes there's bumps in the road that you have with them. And if you're transparent and you tell them that, I think I have pretty good communication skills in those areas and logic. And if you're hiding, a guy calls you and wants to sell you something, you don't want to talk to him, it's better to tell him, hey, I'm really not interested in this now. You want to check back with me in 6 months, you can. And courteous and those kind of things. I mean, I call insurance company guys back. They're trying to sell me something. You can't ignore everybody because they're potential customers.
Yeah. Interesting. Ty, what you got, brother?
So before we forget, I want to get a little bit of background on the name Swamp Restaurant. There's Spurrier dubbed it the Swamp. Why that corner, and then why name it the Swamp? And then has it been? I know it's been maybe a little bit of a battle keeping that name. Maybe
I had it first.
Yeah.
And the guy gave it to me that was kind of involved with me at the beginning, and I was going to call it like the Alligator Cafe or something stupid, and I wasn't really sure of my theme or how I was going to do it. I knew the front yard was essential.
Yeah.
And I also knew that light that I have there was stop traffic. When I built it, it was a burned down shell, and I had to plant 11 trees on that property because of what we took out, and city arborist. And now it wasn't even shaded. It was kind of a gas station looking place. It had some little trees, and now it's got all that character and that shade. And I've matriculated from employees to customers a great number of people, and I'll probably have a governor before it's over. I've got tons of doctors and lawyers, and it's an interesting place. And I've had parents that came there and they've never been to another restaurant in town, believe it or not. And their kids went to school here, and I've made tremendous relationships with the people that have worked for me, the people that have come there. And, people come for preview and they'll introduce themselves, and then their kids will come to work for me. And it's quite a place. I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. And when the fest is in town, of course, they don't cross 13th Street. So there's that segmented market, and fraternities and sorority people were predominantly there when I first started, but that's changed dramatically. When I went to college here, fraternities and sororities weren't that big, and I think they're going back to that level. But I'm really university driven from any event that goes on there, whether it's the chemistry department that they built across the street and spent $65 million. I get that lunch crowd. I get, there's so much more to the Swamp than just a bunch of kids drinking underage. And it's all university driven. And I'd like to advertise more and do more, but people on the other side of 34th Street aren't going to come and come here. People downtown aren't going to come there. It's really just that,
corridor.
If you're in New York City and you're in a big building and you're selling coffee in there, your market is who's in that building, and extrapolate that to 10-block area. That's what you're getting.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit, because there's, in the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, there's almost 5,000 more place settings in Gainesville. What has that squeeze been like kind of in the restaurant industry? Because you guys, I know Ryan Prodesky pretty well, and you guys have been updating menus and getting a little healthier and looking at doing breakfast and doing all these different things. Where do you think Gainesville is with this kind of restaurant scene? Because I know a lot of small business owners, restaurant owners that are feeling the squeeze, and I feel like Gainesville's kind of between that, the personality that's truly Gainesville with these, local spots, and then kind of the big change kind of pushing in.
There really aren't that many local spots. And,
but afternoon has filled a need. They've come in, daybreaks filled a need. We were missing breakfast, I think, here for a long time.
The guys at the top have done a good job down there.
Yeah, great job.
And west of town, there isn't much. Ballyhoo's, which I own, is an independent. Archer Road doesn't have any of that existing stuff. But the one thing that I have read is that restaurants have outsold grocery stores in 2017 for the first time in the history of keeping any kind of records.
Wow.
So in that respect, that's a positive thing. We're not in New York City with a lot of with a lot of independence, but I think you have to know what your market is and chase it. You guys are not going to outsell the car business, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, I'm still gonna try.
Well, I'm not gonna outsell Archie Road either, but I'm still gonna try. The thing is that understanding that, knowing it, and evolving into a healthier fare for people. And I'm not necessarily interested in. Ryan came from another group that had a cantina, and they've gone out of business. And my longevity is not chasing that $2.50 drink and getting the kids so crazy. It's more, I'm all for eating, drinking, and that combination of dinner and lunch and a cocktail and an appetizer and that kind of stuff. So if you really bring that to the table, cool front yard. I have a T-shirt that was very successful. Said, "Swamp front yard, shut up and drink your beer," and I sold thousands of them. But that was 10 years ago, when kids got out of school, kids would come to me and get a shot before they went and took a class, and that doesn't exist anymore. Kids are much brighter, and all these kids are very, very driven in the fact that they want, I went to college to stay out of the draft. These guys are going to college to get better scores on their LSATs or graduate school degrees, and having better resumes to take them to a higher level. And smart people are smart. They're not going to indulge. Every now and then, people let their hair down and have a good time. And we have the doctors, when they get placed in their internships and stuff, they'll come there, and it's a wild group, 60, 100 kids that are getting placed, and they have a bunch of cocktails and have some fun. And
yeah.
That's, once a year, whereas the Swamp in 94, when I opened it, was, it had a hard time creating its identity. And then through the years with national championships and all those other things, I'm as lucky as he was as far as the evolution of scooters in this town and how many were being sold. It's the same thing with the university. They had winning seasons. They had, when they did win, my corner was literally ground zero, and everybody came there at the end of the evening and celebrate. So all those celebrate ESPN, national championships for baseball, basketball, football. They were back to back, and it just creates more hype. There's not a place I can't go that I say I own the Swamp that people aren't, enamored,
Right.
And not to blow smoke up me, but it's the place. I just happened to be the guy that drove it.
So is there a big 25-year celebration coming up? What do you guys do?
It's my 24th year. I opened the place on December 30th, 1994, and December 30th is my birthday. So I can keep track of it that way because my memory's shot. But next year is my 25th birthday, and I've been putting together
your 25th birthday.
a coffee table book that has a timeline for what happened at the Swamp when I opened, a timeline of all my girls that have been there, because they've been significant in my success, because I've obviously screwed up a lot of orders and drinks and stuff. But if you got these really nice young girls that are smart and pretty coming to your table, and you're your age, you can say, it's okay. If I bring it to you, you go, what the hell's wrong with this thing? And they were and are part of my whole growth and my whole scenario for the whole place. And they brought me to fruition. So I'm trying to, without giving up their names, the addresses, and their families, see who they are and do a yearbook kind of.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be really neat.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, congrats, man, on 25 years coming up. It's insane.
If I'm still here, it's next year, Like I said, I don't know the expiration date.
Do you have anything else, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one last thing. So you've been here since for a while. You've done a lot of different things, different companies, different businesses in town, very well traveled. What do you, if anything, what do you think Gainesville is still missing, or what types of concepts would you love for someone to seize the opportunity, if it's not yourself, and maybe bring to Gainesville to keep it, kind of progressing, as we go?
I think leadership is very, very important in our government here. And I also think that the rules need to be changed a little bit for these older landlords that are dinosaurs and they stand in the way of progress. And I don't necessarily mean, skyscrapers in this town or anything, but just a better community, better walking, better servicing things. It doesn't necessarily have to be automobiles. Years ago, we tried to come up with a trolley system that went down University from Waldo Road to the mall.
Yeah,
and it was a center. Cars had to go down Fifth Avenue. It was only for bikes and for scooters, and open trolley system with really cool transportation.
That'd be neat.
We have so many opportunities to change the face of this town, and I can't really criticize my landlord. They're just not progressive, and they're not into the industry. The Cones own other stuff down the street. I shouldn't even mention their names, but that plaza that's over by 706, just there's some blighted stuff that doesn't need to be here. And I was buying a little building in Aspen, Colorado. It was 14 feet wide and 30 feet deep. And in that community, if you don't have a tenant in 18 months, you pay the city the going rate per square foot on what's on the square. And they don't want empty buildings or anything boarded up or anything blighted. And I didn't realize the rules, and when I went to the city commission to do something, they said, well, what are you going to put there? You need to do this. So I had to think fast on my feet, and I said, well, in Aspen, I'll put the $1,000 store there. Forget the dollar store. And they kind of liked it. But I mean, I didn't buy it because I wasn't really a commercial renter or real estate person. I was buying it as speculation. And this town needs to have some rules where if you've got a boarded up building or something isn't happening, you need to be charged for it, not necessarily a burned down building and being fined for not taking it down because it's a hazard, a health hazard. It needs to be a little more progressive, and you need to have storefronts look a certain way and those kind of things. And it's government legislating how you should be doing things, but there's certain rules that need to be changed. And you want a great community. You want to be safe. You want to be well lit. You want everyone to be, using all the facilities that you have here, parks and things like that. Somebody told me they didn't like the walkway over Archer Road, that they took those railroad things and that orange thing architecturally.
The DNA bridge.
And I said, are you guys crazy? I said, that's the coolest thing in town because nobody's building parks with a statue of me or anything in it. It's architecturally pleasing to the eye, and the more things you have like that gives you more identity in a cool town. Gainesville's a tremendous city. It's matriculated a lot of Tom Petty. Forget about the music thing, even science and Dr. Cade,
Yeah.
And those guys were the guys that lent me money. Clark Butler lent me money to do things. Dr. Cade did. All the old forefathers were there for the younger guys that were coming up, and they didn't make it easy, but they didn't make it impossible. And you had to present yourself, and you had to say you do this and how you create things. And I've been very, very lucky here.
So what should businesses do now? Like, how do you recommend that they, because I listen to that, I'm like, well, like I don't want to be a political leader, so how should businesses like ours?
I think we have to educate ourselves and make sure we're knowing who these candidates are and what they possess. There was a displaced person on the board. I won't mention his name, but he's a good friend of mine. He is an accountant. He's very, very bright, college educated, and they elected somebody who was, a little farther down the food chain as far as education and growth and not having a business. I mean, you and yourself know what it takes to meet a payroll, and how to, not cheat your employees. Sometimes you're out of money, and it shouldn't be driven by dollars, but you also can't be wasting them. So It's management, and the city needs to be managed that way. And the rules need to change. Bike paths, I like all that stuff. I like safety.
Well, if there's one thing that I've seen, I know we've talked about it before, is that there has been some progression. I've seen
tremendous amount since I've been here.
I've seen so much, and I'm excited to see where things go. But
that corridor from 13th to 6th Street has been, the bad stuff that you see there has been there since I came to town.
Yeah.
So those things are changing, and over the years they will. But I think it's kind of slow. Everything's gone west, and that stuff out there, disturbs me.
Well, it's one of the reasons why we even wanted to start this podcast, is because I think a lot of things move slow because a lot of these organizations are so big. When you try to get the University of Florida, the city of Gainesville, and we try to get all these moving pieces on the same page. I just think it's super tough at times. And that's why I was like, I'm constantly looking at it. Okay, well, what can I do? What can I do? And that's one of the things that led to us creating this podcast. It was like, well, one thing we can do is talk about it. We can bring in business owners that have been here a long time. We can highlight what makes this place so special. We can, and ultimately, hopefully keep a lot of our talent from the top 8 university here, attract talent to Gainesville, bring in some of these new businesses to Gainesville, make people realize that you can build a business here, you can have a family here, and really highlight, exactly, and highlight these things. That's the one thing that I know that I can do, and that Ty can, what I mean? Like, we know that we can at least do that in terms of our part. So hopefully long term it helps the process, and even if it's just talking about it and putting it out there for everybody to hear, and at least stir up conversation around it. Hopefully it'll do that.
I hope I haven't come off negative. I don't think so. I love this town. It's been my salvation, my hope. I went to school in Miami for a year, and I came up here, and it was just night and day. I really enjoyed it, and I got to do things I'd never thought I would do. I'm from a very blue-collar family. I didn't have any financing from family or anything. What I created, and I've had the support of some of the forefathers in this town, and I'd like to see some more of them step up to the plate. There's some very significant people in this town. They've done tremendous things in this town. They've given back quite a bit. The Harn museums and the culture is here, but I still think we have a long ways to go.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about it, and for sharing your wisdom with us.
I don't know about wisdom. I appreciate you guys. I'm very, very happy that you're doing this.
Thank you.
I'm flattered that you asked me to be here.
I've always appreciated your mentorship and just the things that you shared with me.
On an individual basis, the people that reach out to me, I've got a tremendous amount of opinions. I can make your life better, but not mine.
I value your opinion, and so I'm just super grateful.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Good luck with this.
I know you're probably not the one running the social media and stuff over there, but so people can find the Swamp Restaurant. It's just Swamp Restaurant everything, or like Instagram
at Swamp Restaurant.
At Swamp Restaurant.
You can reach out to Ryan, and he'll post everything for you.
Awesome. Well, there you go, Gainesville. Ron, thanks again so much, man. And we're going to see you next time. This is the WHOA GNV Podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa. Whoa. We will see you later. Bye.